feels as if there's a deep continuity that goes back farther than any human being can reach. That what was wild here 10,000 years ago is wild here today. What was beautiful here 10,000 years ago is beautiful here today. And so it feels like an enormous privilege to live in this place.
No one knows when the first people started to live in this place. But at least several thousand years ago, ancestors of North American Indians migrated down the river corridors from Canada and interior Alaska. They settled in coastal villages in what is now the Tongass National Forest. Evidence of those earliest residents still remains today.
And we know that from the evidence on the tide flats and up in the forested areas that this was a prehistoric fish camp occupied probably by the Tlingit Indians perhaps thousands of years ago. They used stone tools to make this. You know, these stakes here have a potential to be about 3,000, 3,500 years old. So these stakes would have stood up even higher than this, right along in here, and then there would have been twigs and branches woven in between that would have acted as a basket or a net to keep the salmon inside.
The Tlingits and Haida Indians flourished in the nurturing environment that would become the Tongass. A complex culture developed. Arts flourished. Food was plentiful in the forest and the nearby waters. The same waters used by the first residents played an important part in later history. Russians sailed to Sitka and established headquarters for their fur-gathering ventures in Russian America. They were followed by European and American explorers and entrepreneurs. The U.S. purchased Alaska from Russia in 1867. Gradually, towns grew, some driven by fishing, others by mining, logging, and government. Despite changes, many parts of the native culture have survived. One is the name of this forest. It's derived from the Tongass clan of Tlingits that lived on a small island near Ketchikan. Today, about 18% of Southeast Alaska residents are Alaska natives. Many still have strong attachments to earlier traditions, including food gathering and art.
Northern geometric, a raven's tail weaving, a kind of traditional weaving that was probably done here about 200 years ago by my great-grandmothers, I suppose.
What they call today the art of the Northwest Coast, it was a utilitarian in the past. It was whatever they made, used, their hooks, their spoons, their clan crests were carved on it.
Well, today we're going to go out and look for herring spawn on kelp. And when we get home, we cook it up and eat it and put some in the freezer. We're doing a very necessary part of our life, you know, and that's putting away the fish eggs.
Oh, it tastes crunchy. In the Tongass, what's going on in the natural world around you is really inescapable. The forest and the wildlife really impinge on our towns here. And when you get to the edge of town, you really are at the edge of town, and you really are in wild country. What that does is it makes you more aware of what's going on in nature.
This closeness to nature is a fact of life for everyone living in Southeast Alaska. Like the communities of early residents, today's towns and villages still cling to narrow strips of flat land between the mountains and the sea. Most of the 70,000 who call Southeast Alaska home live and work within sight of the Tongass. In addition to sharing the Tongass as their backyard, Southeast residents also share the damp weather that produces the rainforest. Some get frustrated by the rain. Most just accept it. Some with a sense of humor.
It's a wonderful day if you like stepping out of your car to go skinny dip, and it's a wonderful day if you like rain. Well, if you like dressing in rubberized boots, walking around in survival suits, now it's a wonderful day. I said it's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day if you like rain. If you like rain. If you like rain. If you like rain.
Regardless of the weather, this forest has always been used by the people who live here. It's a place to play, certainly. It's also a place to gather food. And it is a place to work. The Tongass was established as a national forest in 1907. It's owned by the people of the United States and managed by the United States Forest Service. Federal law mandates that this 17 million acre national forest should accommodate many different interests and many different uses. Large-scale logging began on the Tongass in the mid-1950s. Clear-cutting is the logging technique used. Cut areas are regenerated naturally and may be reharvested in 100 years. Most of the cut wood goes to large pulp mills in Ketchikan and Sitka. In addition to logging on public lands authorized by the Forest Service, logging also takes place on private lands owned by Alaska Native corporations. In recent years, there's been renewed interest in gold and other kinds of mining. Like other public lands in Alaska and the rest of the country, there is debate over how the Tongass National Forest should be managed. Differences arise over wilderness and logging and mining, habitat for animals, streams for spawning salmon, old-growth trees, jobs, tourism, economic development.
And so you get this tremendous tension between people. But what impresses me, maybe more than anything else, is that people can have such strong opinions on opposite ends of the spectrum about conservation versus development, and yet can get along really well with each other as neighbors. And I think that's part of the magic of the human side of living in the Tongass.
Whether living here or just visiting, each forest user has brought and taken away something different from their time in the Tongass. Through it all, this great green forest in southeast Alaska continues.
When you see a place like this, I think it moves you to understand just how intricate and glorious and spectacular the workings of the natural world can be. It gives us a glimpse, I think, at the world as it really should be. A world in which people do live, but in which there is a place for all of nature.
Alaska Rainforest, the Tongass, is available on VHS or beta cassette. To purchase a copy, call 1-800-870-5866 or write to KTOO Videos, Department A, Juneau, Alaska, 99801. Orders may be paid by check, money order, or credit card.
Once you've found paradise, there may be no reason to leave. But what if you could never leave? Would it still be paradise? They mutinied on the Bounty and wound up trapped on Pitcairn Island, and they forever lost their ability to fly away, burning their boats, both man and nature, from Pitcairn to Easter Island, next time on Nomads of the Wind.
Sunday at 8.
When Helmut and Erika Simon went hiking in the Austrian Alps, they had no idea they would make the most important discovery in modern archaeology. They had discovered the oldest and most perfectly preserved human body ever recovered. A man almost as old as the pyramids. This spectacular discovery would hold thousands of clues to the times in which he lived. Now nature has revealed this body to a society with the technology to unlock the secrets of the Iceman.
Next time on Nova. In 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted, destroying trees, moving a lake, and turning scientific theory upside down.
Would develop our ideas and concepts and theories, and then nature would just knock them on their pin.
Now scientists have had more than 10 years to study, and Mother Nature has had